Hey everyone, welcome to Real or Fake Tech. We test real versus fake tech and reveal the truth behind gadgets.
Everything sitting on this table right here adds up to exactly $2,000 more than it genuinely should. Half of these items are completely real, full retail price, bought directly from the brand with a receipt to prove it. The other half are the single best fakes I could track down for each exact same category after weeks of searching. And when you add up the total price gap between the real pile and the fake pile across all 7 categories laid out in front of me right now, it comes out to precisely $2,000, down to the last dollar. Today, I'm going to show you both sides of every single one of these, side by side, category by category, and I genuinely want you to try and guess before I tell you the answer. Which side is real and which side genuinely isn't? Because by the end of this video, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as obvious as you'd expect for $2,000 of difference sitting right there in plain sight. Let's get into it properly. Rules. Here's exactly how today is going to work. 7 separate categories, 1 genuinely real item and 1 fake item in each, and I'm going to reveal the specific price gap for every single category as we go through them, building up that full $2,000 total piece by piece until we hit the exact number at the very end. For each individual item, the same 3 tests as always. Does it look the same? Does it genuinely feel the same in your hands? And does it actually work the same when it matters? And genuinely, I want you playing along at home too throughout this entire video, because at the very end, I'm going to lay all 14 of these items out with absolutely no labels and bring in real people off the street to see if they can actually tell which side is which. For $2,000 of real difference sitting right there in front of them. Let's start with, without question, the single biggest gap on today's entire list. The flagship smartphone, real flagship phone, $199. Bought 2 days ago directly from the store. Receipt and authentication sticker still intact. Fake version, $190. Bought from a marketplace listing describing it, word for word, as brand new, sealed, grade AAA, shipped same day. That's already $1,009 of today's full $2,000 total, just from this single opening item alone. Unbox them side by side, completely simultaneously, and for the first 30 seconds, they are genuinely identical in every meaningful way. Same plastic wrap with the same pull tab, same welcome graphic printed on the inner lid, same little foam tray holding the cable underneath. Pick both phones up out of the box and at arm's length, held naturally in your hand. I genuinely could not tell you with confidence which one is fake. Same screen size, same weight down to a gram or two. Same camera housing on the back, same buttons in exactly the same places. Turn them both on though, and the entire illusion falls apart remarkably fast. The real phone boots into a proper familiar setup flow. The fake one boots into a heavily skinned operating system dressed up to imitate the real thing as closely as possible. A genuinely good skin, credit where it's due. The icons and animations are close, but dig one menu deeper than a casual buyer ever would. And there's a leftover diagnostic screen that has nothing to do with the actual operating system, plus a budget processor listed clearly under the hardware information, the kind of chip that belongs in a phone costing 1/10 of this price. Not a flagship. Camera test, same daylight shot, same subject, same lighting, same distance. Real phone, sharp, accurate colors, proper dynamic range between shadows and highlights. Fake phone, noticeably soft, over-sharpened in that artificial halo-y way around every edge, colors blown out, trying desperately to fake that expensive phone look and simply not landing it. And then, because I genuinely wanted a real stress test rather than just a spec sheet comparison, I dropped both phones from exactly the same height onto exactly the same hard studio floor. Real phone, a small scuff on the corner, screen completely intact, not even a hairline mark. Fake phone, a full spiderweb crack straight across the entire display, because whatever glass that actually is absolutely not the reinforced glass advertised in the original listing. Verdict: $1,009 of genuine difference. And honestly, most of that entire gap stays completely invisible until the moment you actually turn the thing on and properly start using it. T's smartwatch, real smartwatch, $429. Fake one, $45. That's another $384 added straight on to today's running total, bringing us up to $1,393 so far, with 6 categories still left to go. The physical design here is genuinely a dead ringer for the original. Same digital crown, same textured side button, same gently curved screen edge catching studio light in exactly the same way. Side by side on the wrist, at a glance and a quick photo, genuinely would not know which is which. Look closer though, and the fake screen resolution is noticeably lower, with text on the watch face appearing slightly fuzzy up close, though from 3 or 4 feet away it remains completely, convincingly identical. Flunxed and wise though, it's an entirely different story underneath. The real watch does full continuous heart rate tracking, blood oxygen monitoring, and proper fitness data that actually syncs correctly with a companion health app on your phone, plus full cellular connectivity. The fake watch can tell the time reasonably accurately and count steps in a genuinely rough, inaccurate way. I walked exactly 100 steps in a straight line, counting each one out loud on camera, and it registered 340. Verdict: $384 of difference for something that looks completely identical, sitting on your wrist, and behaves like an entirely different category of device the moment you actually rely on it. The wireless earbuds real pair of flagship earbuds $249, fake pair $19. That's $230 more added on to today's tally, bringing our running total up to $1,623. Visually, genuinely impressive work here. Same case shape, same matte white finish, same tiny LED indicator sitting in exactly the same spot. Open the case up though, and the real buds have a genuinely satisfying magnetic snap pulling them cleanly out. The fake ones just slide out loosely with no magnet at all, and the stems themselves are a couple of millimeters thicker, which you genuinely start to feel the moment you've worn them for more than a few minutes at a time. Sound test: one bud from each pair, one in each ear at once, directly comparing them in real time. Real pair, deep, controlled bass, and switching on noise cancellation genuinely makes the entire room around you go quiet. Fake pair, thin, tinny, essentially no low end at all, and the noise cancellation toggle on the case lights up and does absolutely nothing to the actual sound whatsoever. Verdict: $230 of difference, and honestly, the real-world gap here feels considerably bigger in practice than the visual difference between the two cases would ever suggest going in. Segment 4. The Bluetooth speaker real portable speaker $179. Fully waterproof rated for complete submersion. Fake one $25. Advertising the exact same waterproof rating printed right there on the box. That's $154 added on to today's growing total, bringing us up to $1,777. Physically, these two speakers are nearly identical. Same fabric mesh finish wrapped around the body, same rubberized buttons on top, similar overall weight in the hand, same exact track, same exact volume level on both. Real speaker, full, properly balanced sound across the whole range, clear bass without any distortion even pushed up loud. Fake speaker, bass boosted to the point of genuine muddiness right out of the gate, and past around 60% volume, it starts crackling noticeably on anything with real bass content. Then comes the actual test that genuinely matters here. I submerged both speakers fully in a bucket of water for exactly the rated time printed on the packaging. No more, no less. Real speaker comes back out, still playing the exact same track, completely unaffected by any of it. Fake speaker comes back out, and it's simply dead. Doesn't turn back on at all, no matter how long I let it dry out afterward. Verdict: $154 of difference, and one of these two speakers genuinely, completely cannot do the one specific thing. Its entire box is built around advertising. ATH Action Camera, real action camera, $349, rated for properly stabilized 4K footage even during fast motion. Fake one, $220, box claiming nearly identical specifications, almost word for word copied from the real listing. That's $129 added onto today's running total, bringing us all the way up to $1,906. We're genuinely almost there now. Mounted side by side on the exact same helmet, filming the exact same bike ride down the exact same stretch of road. Real camera footage. Smooth, properly stabilized, sharp detail retained even during genuinely fast motion. Fake camera footage. Noticeably shaky despite the stabilization toggle being switched fully on in the settings, softer overall detail, and there's a constant faint hiss present on the audio track that simply isn't there anywhere on the real camera's equivalent footage. Verdict: $129 of difference, genuinely the single closest price gap on today's entire list, which honestly makes the resulting performance gap feel even more disappointing by comparison. The Gaming Controller Real Wireless Controller, $69. Fake one, $14, from a listing using the exact same official product photography as the genuine store listing, which honestly shouldn't be allowed at all. That's $55 added on to today's tally, bringing our running total up to $1,961. Held in your hands, these two controllers genuinely feel closer together than I expected going in. Same general shape, same button layout, even a similar overall weight, thanks to what I'm fairly confident is some added internal ballast, specifically included to fool exactly this kind of comparison video. The triggers on the real controller have proper adaptive resistance. You can genuinely feel shifting depending on what's happening in whatever game you're playing at the time. The fake triggers are simply basic springs underneath the plastic, offering the exact same resistance every single time regardless of what's on screen. Connect both controllers to the same console, one right after the other. The real controller pairs almost instantly, and inputs feel completely immediate the moment you press anything. The fake controller took 4 separate attempts to even pair successfully, and once it finally did connect, there's a small but very noticeable input delay. Small enough you might not consciously register it in casual play, but genuinely large enough that in anything fast-paced or competitive, it is going to get you killed. Verdict: $55 of difference. The smallest single gap in dollars on today's entire list, and honestly still nowhere close to acceptable for anything remotely competitive. The charger and cable. Real 20-watt wall charger, purchased directly from the brand itself. Fake one, roughly $6 including shipping. That's $39 added on to today's tally, and that brings today's entire running total to precisely $2,000. They look almost completely identical sitting side by side. Same size, same rounded shape, same small logo stamped into the white plastic, though the font on the fake one is very slightly heavier and slightly wider than it should be if you genuinely look closely enough to compare them directly. Here's the part that actually matters most today, though. I had an electronics engineer friend of mine open both of these chargers up before we started filming, because charger safety genuinely isn't something I'm comfortable guessing about on camera. The real charger has proper internal insulation completely separating the live wiring from the outer casing, along with full safety certification stamped inside the shell. The fake one, when he opened it up, had almost no meaningful insulation between the live wire and the outer casing at all. That's not a sounds a bit worse kind of problem. That's a this could genuinely start a fire or shock the person holding it kind of problem. So, full transparency here, because it genuinely matters more than any joke in this entire video. Do not buy fake chargers from anyone ever, under any circumstances. Out of everything sitting on this table today, this $39 gap is the one that actually genuinely matters the most. Verdict: the single cheapest dollar gap on today's entire list, and simultaneously genuinely the single most dangerous item sitting on this whole table. All 7 fakes. Before we get to the full reveal, I want to quickly show you exactly what tracking these 7 fakes down actually looked like, because I think it genuinely matters for understanding how normal this problem has become. Every single fake on this table came from a completely normal-looking marketplace listing, not some sketchy corner of the internet, not a forum, just the exact same apps and websites most people already shop on every single day. The listing photos were, in almost every case, the exact same official product photography lifted directly from the real brand's own store page. Shipping took anywhere from 4 days to almost 3 weeks depending on the item, and every single package arrived in genuinely convincing retail packaging, complete with fake authenticity stickers, fake warranty cards, and in 2 cases, a completely fabricated customer service phone number printed right on the box that, when I actually called it out of curiosity, rang through to a disconnected line. None of these listings were hidden or hard to find. I found 6 of the 7 within the first page of search results for each product's name, which is genuinely the most unsettling part of this entire process. You don't have to go looking for trouble to end up with one of these on your doorstep. It finds you. The full reveal, so adding every single one of those individual gaps back together properly. The phone, $1,009. The smartwatch, $384. The earbuds, $230. The speaker, $154. The action camera, $129. The controller, $55. And the charger, $39. Add every single one of those numbers together properly, and it comes to exactly $2,000. Right down to the very last dollar. The complete total price gap sitting on this table right now between 7 genuinely real products and 7 convincing fakes. The public test. So now, finally, the part I promised you right at the very start of this video. I laid out all 14 items, 7 real, 7 fake, across one long table, completely mixed up, absolutely zero labels anywhere, and brought in 6 random people off the street to guess which side was which, category by category. $2,000 of genuine difference sitting right there in front of them. The phone was genuinely the easiest one for almost everyone in the group. Most people picked up on the weight difference within just a few seconds of holding both side by side. Earbuds, on the other hand, tripped up nearly the entire group completely. 2 separate people confidently picked the fake pair as the real one, purely because, in their own words, the case felt heavier, so it must be the nicer one. The smartwatch fooled 4 out of the 6 people completely, right up until the moment they actually turned both screens on. And the charger, genuinely the single most dangerous item sitting anywhere on that entire table, fooled 5 out of 6 people, which is honestly the single most unsettling result out of this entire video for me personally. Average score across all 6 participants, across all 7 categories combined, exactly half correct. Which means, on average, people got a full $1,000 worth of these items completely wrong, purely from looking at them and holding them in their own hands. Verdict: so, can you actually genuinely spot $2,000 of real difference sitting on a table directly in front of you? Honestly, visually, in most of these categories, barely at all. These counterfeiters have gotten scarily good at nailing the exterior, the packaging, and even the exact marketing language printed on the box. But the second any of these things actually has to do its job, track your heart rate accurately, survive a normal drop, play genuinely accurate sound, or in the worst possible case, safely charge overnight right next to your bed, nearly every single one of them falls apart completely. And with that specific charger, falls apart honestly isn't even the right phrase for it anymore. It's simply actually unsafe to own. So here's my genuine, honest takeaway after spending an entire $2,000 specifically to prove this one point. If a deal on tech looks too good to be true, it genuinely is every single time. Buy from the brand directly or from a properly authorized retailer. Full stop, no exceptions, because gear that looks 90% right but only actually works 30% right isn't a bargain at all. It's simply an expensive lesson with a few extra steps attached to it. If you want me to double this exact challenge and go find $4,000 of real difference next time, let me know clearly down in the comments, and I will absolutely go and find it for you.